Good morning, Jimmy. How you doing?
I'm breathing, so all is good.
That's positive, I guess, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good way to start the day.
How you guys feeling about this upcoming game?
Very excited. First opportunity to see Marcuzo in a while. We know what he did last year on FIFA 18, but this year we haven't seen too much of him. So it's a real opportunity for us to see what he can bring to the table in what is an incredibly important tournament for him.
Yeah, also,
Okay, and then your prediction before I let you go.
I'm going to go with Marcuzo, I think. I'm feeling him because Mr. Buckley is feeling him. He thinks he's going to do well, so I'm going to think he's going to do well.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Marcuzo just because he needs it. I think if he can come out the gates hot here,
I'm
he
going
sets
to
the standard for
feel
him.
pretty bad about myself if it doesn't go with Marcuzo. All right, guys, enjoy the game.
Thank you very much. And yes, it is, of course, FUTWIZ Marko taking on Marcuzo, who we haven't seen too much this year. Dan hasn't quite got to those high heights that we saw him achieve last year. And as I said previously, just before, such an important tournament for him here with those Global Series ranking points on the board, with those playoff places now available and getting closer and closer. He has to produce here. It's as simple as that.
Yep, he's outside of the top 60 at the moment. Not really somewhere where we'd expect him to be after his performances in FIFA 17 and FIFA 18, where he was at both of those eWorld Cups. So we should be expecting him kind of lifting himself higher in those leaderboards as we are going to get this first game underway between two players who next weekend will also be representing their country as well. Australia for FUTWIZ Marko, and of course Denmark for Marcuzo.
Yeah, very exciting times ahead next weekend, but we've got to concentrate on what is in front of us right now, and that is, of course, the FUT Champions Cup number 6. Marko will be playing in the black kit here with the possession, and Marcuzo, obviously representing the organisation North, will be shooting from right to left now in the white kit. And he wins the ball back pretty early here and gets to the opportunity to maybe just get his a little bit of possession under his belt here and just feel his way into this tournament environment.
And that's something you've got to do in the first round of Swiss. You do get very difficult opponents sometimes, even though, of course, it's seeding-based, but when you see a player like Marcuzo, who is quite low down in those Global Series rankings, he's always one of those anomalies who might just break up the seeding process in these opening rounds.
First shot comes in from Marcuzo there, probably just trying to test out Marko, see if he's paying attention, maybe with that goalkeeper movement, excuse me, as we see the first cricketer of many, I'm sure, as we heard from Brandon Smith earlier, loves a cricketer.
The land cricketer,
the land cricketer, as it's been coined by George Hughes, I believe, from North. So shout out to George. Obviously part of that organisation. Very excited to see if he can put that to effect as well as some of the other players that we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, and the reason why we joke about the cricketer with Marcuzo is because there's been several clips online of him performing 5, 6, 7 in a
12,
row.
I think, at one point.
Before scoring a goal, so it's just kind of becoming a thing for him. Even though a lot of players will use the skill move cricketer, it just seems to be like his tendency, which it's nice to have something.
Well, there is a corner here for FUTWIZ Marko, whips it in towards that near post. David De Gea will come out, get a solid hand on that one to put it out for a throw here for Marko on the right-hand side. Vieira will stand under this one. Into Mbappe now, inside the box, little step over, manages to fight his way past Ruud Gullit, which is never a mean feat to manage to get past the Dutch. Prime icon moments for him in the middle of the park, and now Marcuzo can come forward. Neymar now into Mbappe, little fake shot, but can't get past the imposing presence there of Sergio Ramos, but a mistake here, forces the save from De Gea.
Oh my goodness.
Rafael Varane. That is superhero-like defending. You know, the new Avengers film is coming out in just a few weeks, but that's some fantastic stuff from Varane.
I mean, he'd make a good Avenger, to be fair. His foot item is pretty incredible. But now a corner for Marcuzo, and again, he is going to try cricketers. It's how he likes to break into the box, but sometimes you do just run into players. He still just seems to be finding this possession, even though it's coming off another player. He's very good at regaining that possession and reacting well to it.
Well, there was almost 3 in a row. And we will be keeping a cricketer tally. Dan, I'm putting that one on you, so get the iPad out.
Oh, don't worry, I've already started, Mark.
Unfortunately, this time, for Marcuzo, didn't create any real space or opportunity, but here he comes again. Another cricketer from him. I'm sure we'll be saying it a lot, so I'll try and keep that to a minimum. You can see what's happening on screen just as well as we can. Well, Gullit now on the board, finds Modric in the middle of the park. Neymar, there is the cricketer, there's the second! But the goalkeeper movement there from FUTWIZ Marko was equal to the beautiful little run from Marcuzo. Neymar now into Modric, can't turn past Vieira, but Marcuzo, my word, he's looked good at the start of this one.
Yeah, very aggressive from the get-go. I mean, as you mentioned, it's a very important tournament for him to try and get into that top 60, but we have to remember, also a very important tournament for FUTWIZ Marko as well. Yes, he has 1,121 points. He's sat in 27th, but he wants to push towards the top 16, and that's how he's going to do it as well. There's been all of that pressure from Marcuzo, but it's Marko on the counter-attack, able to secure his first goal, and he will be delighted with that first-time shot from Mbappe, which we've seen time and time again in this tournament.
Yeah, great finish there from Kylian Mbappe on the edge of the box. The tie-in finish, nothing but green for FUTWIZ Marko. You can see a little shake in the head there from Marcuzo. He knows he's had opportunities at the start of this game. We go back to that incredible block from Rafael Varane as it was almost a certain goal for the man from Denmark. And now Marcuzo has to come forward again. Will win a free kick here in a dangerous position. So maybe an opportunity for him to strike back early on.
Several options from the free kick. You can try and dink it in, maybe hit Cristiano Ronaldo's forehead, or you can play it short for one of the players running to the left. The first player is going to be tracked though.
Laid off here to Modric into the box, and Mbappe with a fake shot and the croqueta. Another block comes in from a centre-back, but Marcuzo is certainly knocking out the door here. Mbappe gets the ball back from Modric. Neymar around the corner here to Varane. Fake shot again, he gets the ball back here, but the pass just doesn't find a recipient there, and Van Dijk will put the ball out of play, but Marcuzo, you have to say this 1-0 lead so far for Marko is very much against the run of play.
Those are the situations which I say are most difficult though, where you have to react to what's in front of you very quickly, and he's done it perfectly. He's reacted to what was presented in front of him. A couple of croquetas, Mark. I've already counted, that was his 15th and 16th of the game. And he evens things up here in what seems to be a very explosive opening game on the PS4 side.
Yeah, certainly a well-deserved goal there for Marcuzo to tie up this game at 1-1. And we are seeing Brandon's words coming true here. The croqueta have been very effective for him so far going forward, just using it to break inside the 18-yard box. Now, FUTWIZ Marko, having been pegged back here, the start of this first round of Swiss. That's the opportunity from the restart here, maybe to create a chance of his own. Vieira spreads it out wide here to Sergio Ramos, who can burst into the space. Ronaldo, oh, and there was maybe an opportunity to turn there onto Cristiano Ronaldo's stronger right side there, as Marcuzo kind of committed to the left there, maybe expecting that turn inside. You have to say the gamble paid off there for Marcuzo.
Marko just trying to slow the game down a bit, maybe slightly intimidated by the pace of Marcuzo and how aggressive he's been in the early stages, but he's given the ball away again, allowing Marcuzo to come at him.
Well, there was 3 heel-to-heels, and there's loads of space here for Ruud Gullit, but he can't beat the Spaniard in goal, and De Gea turns that behind for a corner. Marcuzo showing early on here, it's not just the cricketer he's got up his sleeve, there's plenty of other tricks that FUTWIZ Marko and all the other competitors here in London are going to have to keep their eyes out for. Marcuzo builds another attack then. Vieira now in a bit of space, goes out wide early here to Alex Telles, the Porto man. In that full-back area, and this is a beautiful move here from Marcuzo. And that's what we've been looking forward to seeing from this man. That's the kind of play that he can bring here to the Gfinity Arena. And you have to say, here in London, his competitive season is really on the line here. And you can see in the way that he's come out of the gates here, Dan, he really has come out on fire.
He's a player we should have been seeing a lot more this season if you consider how well he did in FIFA 17 and 18. I mean, he was the runner-up to Stefano Pina in the eWorld Cup last year. He is the PS4 runner-up. And I mean, that is massive to see him that low in the Global Series rankings this season. So maybe this is going to be his turnaround. He's been performing well in the E-Superliga. He's got his qualification. He's representing Denmark in the E-Nations next weekend as well. So he really should step up from this point. He should reach playoffs, and we should see him get to the same heights.
Well, that's a beautiful heel-to-heel there from FUTWIZ Marko to burst into the box, but maybe just went for one skill move too many to try and beat that last man. And it has been an exciting first half of our first leg here in our first round of Swiss, and it is 2-1 to Marcuzo. And you have to say it's deserved the lead.
Yeah, not really enough from Marcuzo for me. Just the one shot on target and the one goal you could see in the statistics
from
there.
Marko.
From Marko.
It's confusing,
sorry,
Marcuzo.
But for Marcuzo, he's done plenty. I mean, going forward has looked very exciting, and it's just been the counter-attack from Marko. And maybe Marko might look at that and say, right, maybe I should be pressing him a little bit more here, trying to win the ball back a little bit and not allow Marcuzo to run this game, because it's all been dominated by Marcuzo.
You can see some of the formations that Marko is looking at here. Maybe the 4-4-2 is something that he's thinking of switching to. You can see him setting up those custom tactics, as well as that 4-3-3 attacking variant as well. So maybe some tricks up the sleeve here for Marko, because Marcuzo has bossed that first half. It was just that one shot that was timed from the edge of the box that really was the only thing to write home about for him in that first half.
Yeah, I feel like he caught Marcuzo off a little bit by surprise as well, and Marcuzo wasn't particularly happy about it after all his domination, but he responded well. Some players would have taken that negatively and then maybe not played as well, but he continued to press, he continued to show what he was made of, and he continued to be confident in his ability on FIFA.
Marcuzo will lose possession here. It's Kylian Mbappe who wins the ball back in a defensive area. And we heard it from FaZe's TAS earlier on the Xbox, excuse me, saying that Kylian Mbappe can defend. He knows how to get up and down the pitch, probably due to that pace and that strength. He doesn't have to have the best standing tackle statistics on his foot item. As long as you can get into position and kind of bully your opponents off the ball, those forward players can do the defensive shift as well.
I mean, how many times do we see players controlling strikers and CAMs and coming back and defending with them? It's very important to do so. And then once you can't retrieve the ball, you switch to one of those centre-backs or those full-backs very quickly to make that final last-ditch tackle.
Well, here's Mbappe then. Marcuzo coming forward. Criqueta 1, Criqueta 2, Criqueta 3. Almost got a little bit lucky to burst inside the box and get that shot away. But now there's a counter-attack opportunity here for FUTWIZ Marko. Neymar turns back inside. Pull it into Ronaldo. Gets the ball back from the Dutchman. R9, back to CR7! And that's how you counter-attack. 2-2 now.
And not only did he take advantage of a counter-attack, it wasn't an easy counter-attack by all means. It wasn't like one player was just through on goal. Great pass and move play from FUTWIZ Marko there to get back into this game. And that means Marcuzo has to respond yet again, and you can see his face in the player cam there, just a shake of the head, not happy with any of it. And it was the 4-4-2 that Marko did change to as well, just to open up that little bit of space and maybe provide him with the space he needed for that counter-attack. And Marko's had decent Swiss runs so far this season. FUT Cup 3 and FUT Cup 5, he got out of Swiss and he got into the last 16. He'll be looking to replicate that so he can try and secure some more Global Series ranking points here in London.
Such a well-worked position there from FUTWIZ Marko to find the opportunity for CR7 to unleash on that right foot. And again, you have to say it's been 2 shots, but he's timed both of them perfectly to make that as difficult as possible for David De Gea to get across to and make a save for Marcuzo. So now we're tied up at 2-2. And it has been an interesting tactical battle, this one, between the two players. But from the restart here, you can see Marcuzo again looking for that Criqueta to get inside the box. But always Marko seems to be reading it pretty well now. As Teles does some great defensive work there going up against CR7. Never easy to do.
I just think the 4-4-2 is going to play better into the hands of Marko in how he is sitting back, he is defending, he's absorbing that pressure. It's one thing I admired him for in Atlanta when he was playing. He did just sit back, he stuck to his game plan of, I am going to defend, I am going to be very tight at the back, but I will pick you apart when you show me any sign of weakness. If there is even the slightest of gap, the slightest chance of a counter-attack, that's when I hit you, that's when I'll be clinical.
The 4-4-2 gives you so many attacking options, and Ronaldo's in on goal here, and he buries it again! So many players flowing forward in this 4-4-2 formation. And FUTWIZ Marko showing just a little tactical tweak in game here could really change your fortunes.
The fullbacks struggle to deal with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. It doesn't matter if it's in the air or if it's just on the ground. Ronaldo, his foot item, it just seems to be in the right place at the right time every single game. And when you have that going forward on a counter-attack, you have so much potential for an attack. And Marko really taking advantage of it and taking the lead once again in the first leg of this tie.
Well, it has been a very different feel to this second half of the first leg. FUTWIZ Marko was very much on the back foot in the first half. He's still managed to find that goal to keep it relatively close, but Marcuzo's really been struggling so far in this second half, excuse me. It was a long day yesterday.
It was indeed, but we've got here now. We've finally reached the PS4 side, and that's going to be something for the PS4 players. They've had to sit, they've had to watch, they've had to wait, think, practice. They've had plenty of time to go over their thoughts.
Well, here is Mbappe, a couple of cricketers, and this time the finish is there. A little slap on the chest from his coach as well, Marcuzo. Ties the game up at 3-3, and, well, I've got to give Jimmy Conrad some props here. He said he picked this game, and this has been a great one to watch so far.
I think when we looked across all of the opening PS4 games, this was one of the ones that really screamed out to all of us anyway, so we are lucky to be watching this one for sure. I mean, if some of your favourite players are playing, I'll try and update you with the scores after we finish the first leg to see how everyone else is getting on. 8 of the top 10 PS4 players are here in attendance at FUT Cup number 6. That's how stacked this PS4 bracket is.
Well, look at this. Marco's coming forward again, will be dropped. And Marcuzo really is going through the emotions, even in this first round here in the Swiss format. You can see the reactions to every single decision that's being made, every time he scores, every time he concedes. He's almost living through the game at the moment as we approach the last 15 minutes in the first leg. Will Marko take this one short again? A little bit, maybe too far out here for a direct strike at goal. Virgil van Dijk will give this one back to Hullet. Space out wide again here for Mbappe. Uses that scoop turn to get inside the box, but now Marcuzo just gives the ball away, and Modric with the heel-to-heel into Pele. Drag back for Modric, space here for Ronaldo! Just wide of the target.
And just slightly off-timed there. You saw it was yellow flashed above his head. If that was green, could have been sailing into the back of the net. That could have been the goal to maybe finish off the first leg here. But now it's going to be Marcuzo who's going to get the chance going forward in the white, but decent defensive work again from Marko. He is putting his defenders in the right place, trying to cut those passing lanes effectively.
I'll tell you what, that was an incredibly important header to win there for Paolo Maldini, because there was 2 or 3 players completely unmarked in behind him if he would have managed to just knock that one down to one of those players. Marcuzo living on the edge a little bit there as that ball was flying forward. 12 minutes left in this game. Is there going to be a winner in this? Can a player eke out a lead as they head towards that second leg? Messi will be introduced into the action now. And that was for Marcuzo. Mbappe, though, using that pace once again to get behind the fullback. Puts the ball in towards the back post. De Gea will come out and claim, and sometimes it's such a nice feeling when you see the goalkeeper just come out and pick that ball up as it's floating towards that back post.
Yeah, and sometimes you've controlled the goalkeeper to move him out a little bit as well. You can help yourself in those situations. If you don't touch the goalkeeper, if you don't have the goalkeeper movement in your locker, you can leave yourself a little bit vulnerable to those kind of situations. So good stuff. And Marcuzo now will get a chance in the kind of dying stages of this first leg. It has been a little bit of a game to remember. 3-3. Maybe not quite as dominant as Marko would have been expecting.
Well, is there a chance here towards the end of the game? He's linking them together again, but maybe just one too many. Eusebio now towards that back post. Ronaldo gets there! And that might be the goal to decide the first leg. R9 with the header, and Marcuzo takes a 4-3 lead. What a game this has been.
I mean, it's so back and forth. As soon as you think one of the players is going to take an advantage and really start to run away with it, the other instantly battles back. Jimmy was talking about mentality on the desk and how it's sometimes difficult to keep your head up, and the mental game of FIFA isn't something we talk about enough. Well, how about that for mental game? Both players being able to come back from behind in a very topsy-turvy game.
Still a little bit of time here for FUTWIZ Marko to maybe find an equaliser. Pele turns past one. Fake shot inside again, finds Neymar now. The drag back is going to leave space for Modric, and Mbappe takes it first time. And that's what pressure can do. We've seen Marko's been hitting all of his time shots green so far, but in that situation could only find yellow.
Oh, there's loads of space on the left as well.
Hullet now on the ball. Oh, Ravan steps in just in the nick of time there.
It does mean that Marko potentially has the last attack here. No, but well stepped in by Marcuzo. And the referee should blow his whistle here. However,
there might be time for one more attack here, Dan. And it is Marcuzo inside the box. Ronaldo back to R9. Big chance across goal. Eusebio hits the post. Head in his hands here for Marcuzo. He did everything right.
He might have got a corner though. I think it came off Sergio Ramos's backside. And yes, indeed, even though we're into the 95th minute, chance maybe to get an extra one.
Whips it straight into the box. Varane wins the header, and I think that will be the end of the action here, unless Marcuzo can float one in towards Ronaldo. There it is, in the hands. FUTWIZ Marko send this forward. The headshot is off here for Marcuzo. He knows that he'll go into the second leg with a goal advantage, but what a game that was. That certainly woke me up now.
And this is what I think a lot of us were expecting from Marcuzo as well. Is he going to be able to perform? Is he going to be able to show what he's been doing in the eSuperliga? Well, he certainly has done that. He really came at FUTWIZ Marko. And I think maybe FUTWIZ Marko's playstyle has played into the hands of Marcuzo, because Marco's going to be more than happy to sit back and say, all right, you can attack me, but letting someone like Marcuzo attack you when he does have a very high skill set, that's going to be a terrifying factor, and you've really got to be on the ball to make sure you're watching everything to try and defend against all those skill moves.
Of course, these are the replays then from that first leg, full of goals. The first one here from Kylian Mbappe to put FUTWIZ Marko into the lead. And that was after a lot of pressure coming in from Marcuzo. And then we did see the cricketer train start, and there was two back-to-back to find that ball into Ronaldo. Good finish there from Marcuzo.
And then we just had this kind of battle between both of the players of who's actually going to be able to take that lead, who's going to be able to run away with it. Neither could. It was constantly one player taking the lead and then the other player getting back into it. Marcuzo was looking good, but then Marko, out of nowhere, from a counter-attack, a beautifully played counter-attack as well, utilising every player in the midfield, a lovely pass and move style game, and Ronaldo finding enough space to hammer that one home. And if you can time him green from there, Ronaldo is going to put him away.
And then it was FUTWIZ Marko going into the lead here. Neymar with the ball back inside to Modric, and all sorts of space here for Ronaldo. Good finish, just waiting for that goalkeeper movement again, showing some composure in front of goal. But then again, it was Marcuzo who decided to answer back down.
Yeah, and Marcuzo, I feel like I would really struggle to play against him, because he is, even though he's got all these cricketers and everyone's expecting the cricketers, it's still unpredictable. It's which way is he going to go with those cricketers? Is he going to link it up with any other skill move as well? I mean, look, he's just using 5 in a row there, and he almost produced a goal out of it as well. Like, it's just so scary when he's coming at you.
And sometimes when you know that that's up a player's sleeve, it makes you double take what he might do, because the less obvious thing becomes the more obvious thing, and he really does play on your mind a little bit what is gonna be coming forward at you. But Dan, I mean, we've had our first leg here that we've obviously just seen. We've got the score from, update us on some of the other scores from the other games we've got going on.
Okay, some scores elsewhere. Nicholas currently leading Headhunters 2-1. Moalba winning 4-2 against Hyper at the moment. Dr. Ahano is currently tied up 1-1 with X-Blue. Maestro is losing 4-1 at the moment to Ranisol, so that's an interesting one. I'd be expecting Maestro to do a little bit better in this tournament. And then Shells versus Icevogel, another huge game there. Shells currently winning 2-0 against Icevogel.
Yeah, and Shells obviously a player that will want to have a very impactful tournament here in London. Been one of those players that, again, hasn't had the best of runs in FIFA 19. Always great to see him back on the main stage at FUT Champions Cup number 6, though. And he needs those points on the board, much like the players who are involved in this game, especially Marcuzo, who does have that goal advantage as we now kick off our second leg.
And just to put it into perspective of how well Marcuzo needs to perform at this tournament, if he wants to guarantee himself, or at least think he'll guarantee himself playoffs, he's currently on 364 Global Series ranking points. We've kind of estimated maybe 700 towards the 800 mark should guarantee you playoffs. There might be less, there might be more. It's just speculation. We don't know. So he needs a good tournament here. Really, he needs to be getting to, well, the top 8 on his console to try and secure 450 Global Series ranking points to really put himself up there.
And you can see, well, that's making everything that he does in game, giving these reactions and showing these emotions, because he knows that this is really potentially his last real big chance to put big points on the board as far as the season is concerned. Taking that goal advantage into the second leg, certainly a good way to start things off, but it's going to be FUTWIZ Marko here who's coming forward on the attack, finding Neymar. Cristiano Ronaldo obviously picking up a couple of goals for him in that first leg. We'll be trying to turn inside, but Alex Tellez is going to bring down his man. It will be a free kick here to FUTWIZ Marko. Neymar stands over it then. Controlling Cristiano Ronaldo, you can see it as well. Ball into the box, and it's Ronaldo who's going to be able to get up! And it's a simple set piece. But sometimes the simple things are the most effective.
It's simple, but he's played through it completely, and unfortunately for Marcuzo, he wasn't able to get a player in front of Cristiano Ronaldo. And he just leaps several feet above everyone else on the pitch. And if you time it green with the headers, it's always going to be looping in there as well. A cheeky goal from FUTWIZ Marko, but enough to even things up. Marcuzo just needs to stay focused and say, all right, it's just one of those goals. If I keep attacking the way I've been playing, I should be able to get back into this game and take the lead once again.
So 4-4 then between these two. Marcuzo coming forward. Modric tries to drive it across the box there, and a mistake here from Marko. Almost gifted a goal. And I think it was a little bit of goalkeeper movement there to the right-hand side. From Marko, they kept that one at bay. De Gea making the save. Marcuzo, beautiful little drag back. Cricketta 1-2, and the finish! That is superb from Marcuzo. And that is what we've been missing from him this season.
But both of these players reacting to the game so quickly. Split-second decisions constantly. It doesn't matter whether it's a skill move, a little bit of goalkeeper movement. If the ball bounces to a player they weren't expecting, they're both really switched on. They're both on the ball, and that's why we've got such an explosive tie here in the first round of Swiss on PlayStation. But it's Marcuzo again demonstrating what he has in his locker with skill moves.
Everything
especially
at the moment.
with Mbappe as well. He's one of those players, when you've got the ball with him, you feel like you have the world in your hands. You can do whatever you like.
Marcuzo really is lighting up the stage here in this first game, and FUTWIZ Marko is certainly doing his piece as well. And 2 goals already in the first 18 minutes of this second leg. 5-4 in aggregate. FUTWIZ Marko win with a throw-in here on this right-hand side then. Sticking with the 4-2-3-1, I think he's reverted back to at the start of this game as well. Interesting to see maybe if he decides to change that pretty early on, because he changed it pretty early in the last game.
Yeah, going forward, he looked a lot better with the 4-4-2. However, defensively, he looked a little bit lackluster. So that's something that maybe he's playing on in his own mind at the moment. That's going to be his own mental battle, saying, well, do I need to be attacking well or do I need to be defending well? And when it went to 4-4, I can understand. He probably was thinking, all right, now I just need to defend well. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see 4-4-2 come back quickly.
Well, here's Marcuzo then go forward, and again it's Kylian Mbappe. It was the hat-trick of Crickettas there to try and get past his man. So difficult to defend against that skill move.
Yeah, the reason why is because you kind of have to dive in to try and make that tackle, and if you miss it, then the player just gets round you so comfortably. It's just not easy against the Cricketta. It is the most powerful skill move in the game, in my opinion, and probably in a lot of other people's opinions as well.
Well, Tellez is forward now, down this left-hand side. Look at the space here for Neymar. Great ball inside, Mbappe! And again, the goalkeeper movement from Marko. He's saving his bacon at the moment. Marcuzo is just cutting him open at will.
I feel like that's what one of these players needs, is just to take that 2-goal advantage so they can really press on.
Modric chips it into the box. Vieira had to run on his man, but Varane. 2 French players from different generations in aerial combat there, and Varane came out on top, but here comes Marcuzo again. This time he's looking for the quick passing plays in and around the box. And Marco's kind of hanging on here, but he is hanging on. He's still in this game.
So many games, though, in Atlanta when I saw Marko just hanging on, I say that with air quotes, he then came back in the second half of the second leg where he suddenly just came to life and he showed what he's made of. And we've seen that several times in this tie already. Going forward, he does look very threatening. He just has to keep his opponent at bay long enough where they start to make mistakes and show gaps and present opportunities for him to actually utilize his skill set and go forward.
I love how both players are keeping so many players forward here. Look at the space through the middle here. It's completely opened up here. Ronaldo with the ball roll. But De Gea makes a huge save here from Marcuzo. But that was the chance we were talking about, Dan.
That's what he's been waiting for, just that gap. And he took the opportunity, but unfortunately just couldn't finish the one-on-one. Good goalkeeper awareness, though, from Marcuzo to bring him out.
Oh, look at the space here for Neymar. Big chance, and again, Marcuzo just kind of cannot beat Marko in those one-on-one situations. Corner here for Marcuzo, inside the box. Maldini with a back heel here to Varane. The two centre-backs doing a little bit of work on the edge of the box. Scoop turn from Ronaldo, but there will be an offside flag here. So time for a little bit of calm here for FUTWIZ Marko.
One thing that you know if you're going up against Marcuzo, if he's controlling a player that doesn't have 4-star skills, he's probably going to pass it. He's not going to be trying to do anything. He's going to be like, oh, this player can't cricketer. Get rid of him. Give me someone who can.
Problem is, look at the lineup.
Yeah,
5-star skillers, 4-star skillers.
It's mainly his defenders he's probably just going to be passing it away from.
Neymar comes forward then for Marcuzo. There is a couple of cricketers again. Ronaldo now inside the box, and De Gea has to make yet another save. Marcuzo's getting frustrated because he can't beat the Spaniard.
It doesn't matter which way he guesses at the moment. Marko is just winning that mental battle in those 1v1s. But eventually, if Marcuzo keeps knocking on that door, Marko is going to have to open it at some point.
Ronaldo inside the box, and Mbappe's going to be there. There's the drag back. Oh, went for the little fake shot inside. And you have to say, I think FUTWIZ Marko is going to want the half-time whistle to go here. He needs to kind of recompose himself because Marcuzo has just been hammering at the door. And look at the space here out wide again for Telles. Overlapping towards the back post. De Gea gets a touch, and Neymar can't get his head on it.
Maybe the trouble is for Marcuzo is he keeps knocking on the door. Maybe he needs to start ringing the doorbell a little bit. Change things up. Go for a slightly different strategy. Maybe some crosses. Just to make Marko second-guess himself and then start to think about his goalkeeper a little bit more.
I think I want to just see him finish these one-on-ones. Well, it's as simple as that. He's creating incredible chances, and he's even been mixing up the way that he's been striking the ball. He's been going near post, he's been going far post, but FUTWIZ Marko seems to be some sort of clairvoyant. He can see the future.
So maybe that's his problem. Maybe he needs to be more repetitive with his shots to try and encourage Marko into some sort of pattern with how he's moving his goalkeeper. And then after 4 or 5 shots, just say, all right, now I'm going to switch it up. It's like a penalty shootout sometimes when you get this many 1v1s and this many engagements with the goalkeeper movement. But it's brilliant to watch.
So then second half, you can see maybe the 4-4-2 will be popped into play here for FUTWIZ Marko. Needs a goal, so he has to change something. We were talking about how it was effective for him offensively when he did change to it in the first leg. Being a goal behind with just 45 minutes left in the second leg, he does need to find that goal, so we'll have to see if he can find that goal before another opening does come for Marcuzo, who might this time be able to put it away.
Several chances, though, for FUTWIZ Marko when he has the ball from kickoff, when he has possession. He does give it away a little bit lightly, playing some very wayward passes that Marcuzo is easily intercepting. And maybe it just requires a tiny bit more patience from Marko's side. Maybe the clock in the top left-hand corner might be encouraging his play a little bit too much now at this point, where he's starting to rush things.
Also might be nerves starting to kick in a little bit here as well. The pressure that Marcuzo is putting on the ball high up the pitch. You can see him switching players frantically, trying to close down the space. And when you're down by 1 goal, it's so much easier to just make one loose pass, which can lose you 5-10 minutes off that in-game clock. Maldini's been an absolute rock at the back here for Marcuzo. I think he's probably made the most tackles out of anyone on the team so far in this game.
Marcuzo's just stepping up at the right times with the centre-backs. He's sitting back enough to allow Marko to come forward, kind of lulling him into a false sense of security, and then he's diving in and taking advantage of it.
But there is one of those loose passes again here from FUTWIZ Marko. Marcuzo has the chance to spread this one wide. Can Telles keep this one in play? Yes, he can. Tries to fire the ball back to Hullet. Ronaldo now on this right-hand side in the 4-4-2 formation. He's going to release his namesake Ronaldo now, the Brazilian. Little fake Rabona and step over, creates the room for the cross, and Hullet's trying to get there, and Telles wins the header. And now look at the space for the counter-attack.
And it's not very often Marcuzo has been the one on the counter-attack. It's usually been him kind of dominating the play. But he's still got possession here. And now this is the kind of danger areas where he starts to bring out the skills.
There's 2, there's 3, tries to find the little dinked ball into towards a striker at the back post. Wins the ball back here after a rushed clearance again from FUTWIZ Marko. Still 1 goal the difference between the 2 players. Mbappe, 2 cricketers, there's a third, make it 4. Now the tight dribble in, but can't get the opportunity to strike it. And again, FUTWIZ Marko holds on.
Yeah, Marcuzo, he's knocked on the door, he's rung the doorbell, he's tried the dog flap as well.
He's kicked the door in.
He just needs to get the battering ram out now at this point and really break that door down. And unfortunately, FUTWIZ Marko has stood on the other side of it, holding it.
And the thing is, the longer this game stays at 1 goal, you know that there's going to be a chance for Marko in this game. It's a case of who is going to score next. Is it going to be Marko who's coming forward now to tie up the game? Neymar with a cricketer of his own, taking a page out of Marcuzo's book, and Vieira just comes across with his strength and just pushes Mbappe off the ball and says, I'll have that back, sunshine.
It's whether, I was talking about Marko saying that he might be intimidated by the clock. Maybe Marcuzo might be having a look at it as well.
There's a runner here in Neymar, outside to Mbappe, maybe the chance to strike! Marcuzo showing that he can move that goalkeeper as well, and De Gea just tips that one over the bar.
Because if Marcuzo realises that he is so close to winning his first round of Swiss here, he might start being less attacking about his play. He might say, oh, I'm just going to play it around the midfield a little bit more. I'm going to play it around my defence a little bit more. And then that opens himself up to mistakes that FUTWIZ Marko could take advantage of. So we need to be very careful. I think Marcuzo is the type of player who will just keep going at FUTWIZ Marko, to be honest. But you never know when you put in the LAN environment. Marcuzo said it's not the same game as you play at home sometimes. Completely different environment, completely different setting. It's not always as comfortable.
There's a ball into the box. Hullet will win the header. It was Modric who was trying to get his head on it for FUTWIZ Marko there, but now R9 can bring it away for Marcuzo. I really do feel like the next goal in this game is going to decide which way it goes. With 18 minutes left on the clock, it's Hullet who takes down Pele there. No penalty given. And this is the kind of moments we talk about mental strength. You have to let that dissipate out of your head as quick as possible and just focus on defending here, because you know that FUTWIZ Marko is going to be coming forward and just throwing everything at you.
Yeah, because if you're starting to think about, oh, that should have been a penalty, it's just a little bit of, I don't know, you suddenly slip in concentration and you press one wrong button, or you move your player into one wrong position, and that's a chance for your opponent. Mental strength is so important. But Marcuzo, he did just that. He stayed focused, he was able to defend, and now he's got possession again with 13 minutes left. So he does need to focus on keeping the ball, but I know full well he will want to just kill off this game. He's been trying to get that 6th goal for so long now, it feels.
Spreads the play then to Alex Telles on this left-hand side. And you can see just a little bit of game management starting to come into this. You can see FUTWIZ Marko trying to press his players up the pitch, which means that one penetrative ball in behind could create a chance, but it also means those passing lanes can be cut. You can win the ball back, and you might be on for an equaliser yourself. Ronaldo just rushes that second pass there, trying to get it forward. But Marcelo will step in here for Marko. And with 8 minutes left on the clock, is there going to be a chance here? Ronaldo tries to strike it. Marcuzo closes that space down as quickly as possible, but it will be a corner.
Yeah, this is where your heart starts to beat a little bit faster now into the dying moments when you only have that goal lead. Marco's done so well to defend against it. He gives the ball away, not able to get it to that back post which he was searching for, which means Marcuzo has the chance to slow things down now. He will be looking at that clock. He'll be saying, 5 minutes, I can keep the ball for 5 minutes here. This game's mine. No mistakes from this point, and he will be the winner.
And Mbappe is completely clear in behind here, but experience showing once more there in that situation. Keeping the ball, but no, there's the mistake. Sometimes you get into that mindset of playing the ball back to your defenders. You close down that space, it can leave space in behind, and Bale is through, Ronaldo's through. FUTWIZ Marko cannot find the opportunity to strike. Bale though, on the floor, the referee is given a penalty.
In the last minute, Marcuzo gives away a penalty. The ball was bundling around everywhere. But Marko...
I want to see this again. We're not going to get the opportunity to. And Marko has the chance here to equalise in the 90th minute. Ronaldo from the spot to send this to extra time. Steps up, saved by Marcuzo!
Off the rebound, can't do anything with it. 2 minutes of added on time. This is Marcuzo's game now. Close it out, play it safe, run it to the corner. Heart-wrenching stuff in the dying moments for FUTWIZ Marko, who had a chance in the first round of Swiss, but Marcuzo gets through it.
Look at this.
And the relief on his face, I am not surprised with how much shots he had, but he couldn't get that 2-goal advantage, and we knew there was going to be one last chance for Marko.
And this is just round 1 of the PlayStation 4 Swiss format. What a way to start things off. Congratulations, of course, to Marcuzo for picking up the win and keeping his nerve at the end of the game to make that save.
And I did count the cricketers. 49 I counted from Marcuzo there. So there's an average for you from the first game. I can't promise I'm going to count them in every game today.
No, you've done it now, you've
but
started.
That is a lot of cricketers from him.
And yeah, of course, on the other side of things, FUTWIZ Marko, he played his part in what was a fantastic first game there. That penalty at the end, though, that's got to hurt him, and he'll be thinking about that one as he moves on. But we're going to move over now to another game, and this one's now tied up at 6-all between Rangel and Maestro, Dan.
Yeah, this was a game where Rangel was up by 3-1 in the first leg. Oh, and just as we join the action, it's almost a goal as well. As we are in extra time of this one, tied 6-6. And Maestro was a player who very much impressed me at the first tournament of the year at Paris Games Week, but he's been relatively quiet, I'd say, across the season, but he's been there or thereabouts, still getting enough Global Series ranking points to keep him in contention for that top 60 and towards that top 16.
And of course, he's going to be flying that French flag as well. After the shock earlier today of Dax falling out of the competition on the Xbox. So he's going to want to avenge his fellow countrymen and go deep into this tournament. But now's Rangel coming forward. Holding it on the edge of the box. As the referee does bring the first half of extra time to a close here. I mean, what games we've had at the PS4 so far. 6 goals apiece in this one. We just saw the absolute thriller in our first game between Marko and Marcuzo. I'm looking forward to today, Dan. If things carry on like this, we're going to be knackered, but it's going to be a very exciting day of action.
I love the PlayStation side of the bracket because we have 8 of the top 10 players here, because the Gfinity Arena is the home of the PlayStation players, but we've never seen a PlayStation player win a FUT Champions Cup. Maybe this could be the tournament where finally one of them breaks through. We talk about the GOATs of all time in FIFA and who are the best players at the moment. Players like Nicholas, for example, they need a tournament like this to really show what they're made of.
Well, here's Maestro then with Ronaldinho. Only a few moments left in this game before we go to the spot once more to decide this first game.
I mean, what a result this could be for Rain. 92nd in the Global Series rankings, the man from Indonesia. Quite far behind Maestro, really, in the Global Series rankings.
And he might be behind in this game if Maestro could have taken advantage of that little bit of lax play. But again, another nation being represented here at the FUT Champions Cup, and Ronaldo has burst through on goal. Maldini's trying to bite back at him, but inside, there's an easy finish. And Maestro, in the 112th minute here, has taken the lead.
Maestro has always been one of those players for me who, when he's going forward, you know he's got something always up his sleeve. He's very creative, he knows how to put that ball in the back of the net. The Frenchman who will be representing France in the E-Nations next weekend as well. Currently 14th in the Global Series rankings, so he's really just trying to push himself towards that eWorld Cup. And a good result in the Swiss stage would start to set him on the path towards that.
So then, can Rain find a goal here to once again tie this one up, send it to penalties? Only around 5 minutes left to do so. He's given the ball away here to Maestro as well, so the Frenchman can just take a little bit of a deep breath here and regain some of his composure. No mistakes from here.
And it sounds simple, but we saw what happened in the previous game between Marcuzo and Marko.
Nothing simple here in London.
As soon as you start to play the ball around, you give your opponent that one last chance. We always see it. And Rain is going to have it right now.
Hold it then into R9. Maybe that chance there, but the back heel is a little bit flimsy at best, to be honest with you, from R9. And Maestro now has the game in his hands. You're going to see 120 minutes clock up on the top left-hand side of your screen. 2 minutes of added on time. It has to be a mistake here from Maestro. Otherwise, he will be picking up his first win here in London.
And we're really starting to see that gap close, I feel, between the top 16 players, the top 20 players, and some new boys in town. I mean, Rain's given it A blooming good crack there. He was up by several goals against a very top player in Maestro. But Maestro shows his experience, he comes back and he wins. He has to go to extra time to do so. It's only the first round of Swiss, and these players are just starting to warm up and get used to themselves once again.
Yeah, great performance from the man on your screen, though. Certainly announced his presence here in London. We're going to go over to another game, though. And there's Joksan involved here. And Joksan, look at the score down. We're in extra time. 4-3. Here's Respicta. And yeah, Joksan's currently 3-0 down in the second leg. Things have gone very badly in the second leg.
Yeah, Joksan, who had the lead, seems to have thrown it away, and now in extra time, it's again a matter of just trying to keep that ball away from Joksan, but we know what Joksan's made of. We haven't seen lots of him this season after his early dominance. But since he's come back, we've been saying, will he be the Joksan of old, or maybe is this new meta not right for him?
Mbappe inside the box here. This could be the end of the game if he can find a finish here, but Joksan manages to hold strong here and will come away. Still has the second half of extra time to potentially work with to find an equaliser, but he's going to look to find an equaliser here before the break. Eusebio just bursting away down this right-hand side. Maldini has to come across to deal with it.
And this could be an incredible result for Respicta, because he's currently ranked 350th on the PlayStation, and of course we know Joksan is up there. He's in third at the moment. The difference in Global Series ranking points is around 3,100 because of how well Joksan performed. But we saw a similar pattern in Singapore when Joksan kind of came back and we were like, all right, yep, Joksan's going to return, he's going to show us what he's made of, but he kind of flopped a little bit, if I'm honest. He didn't look like the Joksan that we saw in the early stages of the season. Joksan, who for me showed how to manual defend early on at tournaments like Paris Games Week, for example. But now we've got to the latter stages and everyone's kind of caught up with how he plays. Is he going to find that form again? That's going to be my real question from the man from the States.
So into the second half then of extra time here, and it is Joksan on the back foot. Needs to find an equaliser, otherwise he's going to be going 0-1 in his first game of Swiss. Of course, throughout the day, we've got plenty of action to bring you on the PlayStation 4 after we kicked off with our Xbox round of 16, but Joksan's not going to kick off straight away and find a chance. And look at the pressure here, using that second man press to close down this space, and he needs to. And he does so as Ramos wins the ball back now. CR7 loses out there to Ronaldo, and this is, again, a very high-paced game between these two.
Really quick, and I think it's very important against players like Joksan who do press quite considerably with the second man. You have to be playing those first passes just to make sure you're not going to be easily taken off possession. Joksan has regained it again, and 9 minutes left. He has to just presume every time he gets the ball now, it could be his final attack. Extra time goes by so quickly.
Ramos steps in to win the ball then for Joksan. There's the ball in behind for Mbappe. Keeper comes out, and the keeper deals with it. How do you think it's the prime icon moments? Peter Schmeichel in goal here, but oh no, that's very, very wayward from Ramos. Very rash.
And that's going to allow a corner. And corners are scary.
Will be cleared out initially. Modric round the corner then. Joksan coming forward, needs to equalise here, and he might have the chance, and he's done so! The 115th minute produces the equaliser for Joksan.
Corners are scary, but not always from that first ball. Some players like to play it short, and we see so many players play it short, then play it right to the edge of that box, and then see what they can do with it. And when you have players like Luka Modric, you can twist, they can turn, they can find those passes. Joksan has always been good at doing that, at finding key moments and key goals in dying stages of games. And he's done that just here when it looked like he was going to be heading 0-1 in the Swiss stage.
And we say sometimes that the champions are the ones who can pull out results and pull out goals when they need to in these certain situations when they're not playing at their best. But a goal like that, with just a few moments to go, you have to say momentum has got to be with Joksan now. But he has to defend well now.
He does from the get-go, just has to be switched on. Yes, he's going to be delighted that he's got back into things, but at the same time, he knows how deadly opponents can be from the get-go. So defend and maybe hope for one last attack. Otherwise, start mentally preparing yourself for some penalties, Sunshine.
So Respector's coming forward then, maybe with a chance to find a winner, but Joksan wins the ball back, and he's going to have the chance to roar forward now towards the end of this game and look to get his first win on the board.
Just a switch of play, slow it down, make sure he has the last attack of the game so that if his attack fails, if he plays a risky ball and his opponent is able to gain possession, they don't have time to go for that counter-attack. 2 minutes added on. Perfect time to start creeping forward towards your opposition goal.
Into added on time here then. Vieira, though, steps in here for Respector. And the final attack is going to be unceremoniously stopped here by Joksan. I think we'll say that that was an old-fashioned tackle there from Ruud Gullit.
A tackle from his era, I'd say. I'm sure he has done plenty of those in his time. Brings down the man, doesn't want to allow for that final attack. And maybe it might have to be a hoof right up into the box to have any chance of doing anything with the time available. A short pass will probably encourage the referee to blow the whistle.
Well, he's played upfield then out wide, looking for that ball into CR7, but we're going to the spot down to decide this game in our first round of Swiss.
First up, Eusebio then. As always, players just stepping into the middle, try and send them the wrong way, but it's an easy penalty, just driven to the right-hand side.
Pele goes down the middle, but it's saved by Schmeichel. Joksan down by 1 now.
Chance to go 2-0 up, and he does, and I like seeing penalties with power. Joksan, though, needs to start scoring, can't have this second one saved, and this one is sent home.
So Joksan has the chance to tie it up with a save here. But Respector has the chance to go 3-1 up, and what a position that is to be in. Vieira steps up, and Joksan saves! All tied up now. Modric, there it is.
Right back to square one. And pressure right back onto Respector. Though he slams it home again.
Absolutely smashes it home.
He's so confident in his penalties, and speaking of...
Here's Ronaldo stepping up, and Joksan goes for the more finessed way into the corner there to the bottom right. And now it's Gullit's turn for Respector. Goes straight down the middle. Again, plenty of power behind that.
Love how he's just hammering him. Absolutely getting his boot behind it. The Joksan to try and tie it up down the middle, easy peasy. And into sudden death.
Ronaldo then stepping up for Respector, goes right-hand side, and again just puts his laces through it. And now Joksan needs to score to stay in this game. Mbappe versus Schmeichel when he slots it away.
And we've seen several penalties already on the Xbox side. We've seen them go to 9-8 was our highest. That
save
though, by De Gea, and gives Joksan the chance now.
Sandro to win it here for Joksan. Slots it away, calm as you like. And Joksan, after a scary, scary second leg in his first game, manages to pick up the win. Respector almost managed to pull off what was a surprise victory, but champions win games.
Would have been a massive, massive upset.